full evaluation of 2024 winter light novel anime adaptations. So this time, it's been about 2 weeks since the winter anime started, and about some episodes has been aired. So I'm going to give my personal evaluation of the early stages. This time, I only focus on the original light novels. I'll be introducing all the works at once with ratings ranging from SS to C. There are 17 anime based on winter light novels, including some hot ones, so there are quite a lot of them. So I'm sure there are many people who haven't seen all of them. I'd be happy if you could decide which anime to watch after watching this video. Let's get started right away, but first, let's talk about the sequels. First of all, this is Kusuria no Hitorigoto. This is the second season of Kusuria no Hitorigoto. This is being broadcast in 2 seasons in a row. I think it should be given a stable SS rating. The content was perfect and the script was carefully structured to cover 1 volume in 1 season. Even in the second season, which started at the beginning of the year, the visual quality remains extremely high. Over the course of 1 season, not only do I feel attached to the characters, but the story also expands considerably, so I feel pretty good about that. I'm not sure how far this original story will go with the remaining 1 season, but it seems like it's already been confirmed that you can enjoy it with peace of mind. As a viewer, I'd be extremely grateful if there was an anime just similar like this. This is the second season of bottom character Tomozaki. It's been a while since bottom character Tomozaki appeared in the second season, but in terms of quality, it's almost at the same level as the first season, or maybe even slightly higher. My personal rating is A tier. It's been long since I ranked it, but I don't feel any discomfort at all, including the voice actors' performances, and I feel like I can easily get into the story. However, since the second season is so salty, the story is very selective about people. So there may be some people who find it difficult to watch. Tomozaki-kun's classes cassette and bullying-like situation is going to be about things are going to turn out, and it's going to be a conflict between Fumiya's classmates, so it's quite a heavy atmosphere. Yes, there is. In order to alleviate that problem, they have to put a lot of effort into the presentation, such as making frequent use of game screen-like effects. I feel like they are using a bit too much of the production and game-like production, which makes the story looks too light. It's difficult to sell it cheaply, but what do you guys think? Since there are 3 episodes, the heavy atmosphere has been dispelled to a large extent. After this episode, the romantic comedy-like fun becomes quite strong. From the perspective of the original work, I'd like people to continue watching it. Well, I wonder how long the artwork in Project 9 will last. Banished from the hero's party, I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside second season. As for the rating, I give it an A rank. I like the first season because it has a pretty stable performance. The content was still enjoyable for those who like it. The quality of the visuals was also good, and this work does a good job of creating an atmosphere. The BGM was also very relaxing, giving it a unique sense of slow life. You can thoroughly enjoy it. In terms of the story, there were some battle-like elements in the first and second episodes of it, but it felt like a side quest, so it was a relaxing atmosphere to watch. Also, the story was about the hero side that comes out at it and has a really disturbing atmosphere. Well, we'll see how it turns out in the future. The heart of this work is what to do with life and seriousness, so it will be interesting to see what happens in the future. This is the second season of Tsukimichi Moon Fantasy. This is also the second season after a little over 2 years. I've watched up to episode 2, but the rating is B rank. The production company has changed from C2C to JC staff, but the main staff hasn't changed much, so I don't really feel like the producers have changed that much. Well, the quality also seems to be quite stable. The first and the second season also seems to follow up the story of the first season, so I didn't really feel like the episode was a bit rushed. It's been a while since the second season of the anime, so there were quite a lot of character introductions and reviews of the current situation. So the real story starts from episode 3 onwards. Especially in the second episode, the main character didn't appear at all, so I got the impression that they were making preparations for the main episode to come. So I'll give it a B for the early stages. But once the story starts moving, I feel it had a lot of potential to get an A rank. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think those who like the first season will also enjoy the second season. Next is the third season of Welcome to the Classroom of the Elite. The broadcasting time was delayed, but it hasn't started off with a hitch. The rating for this is A rank. There's also the tax on the original work, but I'm not really enjoying it. The anime for both days has the impression that it's pretty rough, but first of all, the animation has gotten better than the first and the second season. I still have the impression that it's only about episode 3, so I don't know what will happen from here and out, but at least at this stage it is pretty good. The only thing that bothers me that there is a lot of cuts from the original work in the screenplay, so there are a lot of changes to the structure, so I'd like to see the scenes. It would be disappointing that if that was cut, but it's not that the screenplay is really bad or anything. Is that the original work, which has a lot of information, was taken into consideration. I think they've adjusted it well and incorporated it into the anime. I think it would be quite difficult to make both days into an anime, since we have to do all the sex scenes for the remaining year in one season. What kind of structure it will be from now on? I think the director and the scriptwriter will be able to show off the skills. The last part of the first year has a hot development. As a fan of the original work, I'm looking forward to see how the shocking story will be presented. The above will also lead to the sequel. I get the impression that there are a lot of stable works, so I'll be watching the new works next. Villainous Level 99. I may be a hidden boss, but I'm not a demon lord. I rate this as a C rank. It's a bit of a harsh rating, but it's a bit off-putting. The first thing that caught my attention was the structure of the first episode. The story starts from the perspective of the main character in the automaking world. I got the impression that it has an interesting structure, which was good, but then it switched to the actual main character perspective. I feel like the story progressed in an extremely digestible way, which was a waste. It started off with an interesting angle, but the length of the first episode was too long due to the story. I feel that the balance was poor in that I had to progress to the story all at once. As for the second episode, the main character, who was at level 99, was very strong. It was a series of turbulent developments, so it was interesting. If they were going to this route, I think they could have shortened part A of the episode more. I think there's a good chance that it will continue to get more interesting.
Next is Ishura. Personally, I had high expectations for it even before it aired, but I think it's a great work based on the original. As for the evaluation, I'll give it an S rank. I knew it from the time of the PV, but the battle scenes are at the highest level of power. I think it's fair to say that the animation and video quality are top class in all of winter anime. The anime was produced in Studio Passion, but I can really feel at ease and leave it to them. It's a good studio, but I feel like the S rank rating this time is due to having reading the original work. For those who haven't read the original, the main characters change every time, so it feels like they have been cut into pieces. I was worried about it before the anime aired, but since the strongest character have to portray each other in a battle, if you don't know how it will unfold, you will feel like it's not going well. There's a problem with that. I know after this, the strongest player will have to battle each other and things will get exciting, so I think I'll enjoy it as if it's like an introduction to Battle Royale players. But it's the first time I watched the anime. It's hard to see that, but the quality is outstanding, so it might be more enjoyable to watch it all at once after all the episodes have aired. Only the problem is that it's exclusive to Disney Plus. I want the monopoly to be lifted.
Next is Isekai de Mofu Nade Nade Suru Tame ni Ganbatemasu. This feels like a slow life warrior fantasy where Kazuo is reincarnated in another world. I give this a C, but I did say more of a C than a B. That's the image, but in terms of the story, it's a really sticky beginning where you get a cheat with a power of God and are reincarnated in another world, so there's no fresh material at all. However, in the reincarnation destination, you get killed by various animals and divine beasts. The concept is that the main character keeps getting fluffy. It's consistent, so it's fun to watch at a leisurely pace. The main character is actually an adult woman, but in terms of her behavior, she's more like a young girl, so it's fun for young children to watch the story in an easy, ongoing way. But as expected, the drawings were quite difficult at the time of the painting, so I have the impression that this will be an issue in the future. I just enjoyed the cute animals and the cuteness of the young girls. For those who say yes, I think it wouldn't be strange for this to be worked as rated B or higher. I look forward for more into the future. That's what it feels like, isn't it?
The strongest tanks Labyrinth raids, a tank hero with a rare skill of 999 physical strength who is expelled from the party, is rated C. This is a bit of a harsh rating for this season's anime as a whole. Now there are some really great follow-up informations on the story, so I'm not going into it, but overall there were a lot of things that weren't explained enough in the beginning, especially when the main character was kicked out of the party. There's no explanation of the outside air that could be a trigger. It's a bit unkind to say that. I understand intuitively what defense power and barrier-like things are, but I think it's pretty important point, so I did like a quick explanation. Well, for some reason, the party members are fixed at 6. The main character is recruited for weapons, but he doesn't have any secondary weapon, and the story progresses with some small points left out. I thought it was such a waste. There's a lot of interest in the story, like how he saves the homunculus girl and lives with her, especially from the second episode onwards. It wasn't bad to see him return to his hometown and have a slow life atmosphere. I'll start from episode 2 once the story stabilizes. It's a bit unstable, as the drawings also are getting questionable, but I'm not sure how stable it will be over the course of one season. I did like to check it out.
The Weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash. This is a different world fantasy where the main character has only a few memories of his previous past. I did give it a B, but in terms of visuals, it wouldn't be strange to rank A or higher. It has a heavy beginning where the main character is reincarnated and is suddenly about to be killed, but he doesn't have any skill stars. But that's how it goes. The main character runs away from the village and lives alone. It's a story about deciding things. Honestly, in the beginning, the main character just keeps talking to himself, so the content is a little unsatisfactory. But the overall visuals have a unique flavor, and every cut has a unique flavor. It has a fresh feel, and I feel that the eco content is quite special, and it's so interesting that I never get tired of watching it. There are also a lot of effort to put into the background depiction and is comparable to the visuals. That was great. By the way, director Shinyatsu Yamauchi, who is in charge of the general director of the anime, is a very veteran animator. I wonder if the unique texture comes from that as well. Personally, I feel that it has a lot of potential to become a dark horse for the season, so I look forward to see it in the near future. This is Sasaki and Pichan. It's a chaotic comedy of the type that lives in a different world and reality. I rate this as an S rank. First of all, since the main character is an old man, it's uniquely interesting. He has a solid old man flavor, so I think that's what makes it interesting. His relationship with the Java word Pichan was also heartwarming, and even though the story is quite surprisingly serious, the comedic atmosphere doesn't break. That's one of the good things about this work. After all, the chaotic nature of the slow life-like story in another world and the battles with supernatural powers unfolding in the real world was also nice and fun. Especially the battle scenes in the second episode is a good addition. It was interesting to watch and the drawings were quite unique. However, I thought it was really good because the illustrations was also tasteful. If it continues to maintain its quality, I personally would be satisfied with the anime. Furthermore, the story will be built chaotic in many ways, so I'm looking forward to see what kind of anime it will turn out to be. My instant death ability is so overpowered. I give this work a B rank. The main character is too strong, so it's an overwhelming A work. Overall, the storyline is a bit simple, so I feel like it to have a little more impact. As for the animation, it's pretty decent. If it can maintain this quality, it'll be probably pretty good. In terms of the story, the development continues as the title suggests, so you can continue the overwhelming strength of the main character. Also, personally, I'm more interested in the heroine's ability to adapt the main character's brokenness. It's a rather quite serious situation that makes me want to get into it. However, the heroine's reaction lead to a comedic development. It's a work with a perfect balance. It's still in its early stages, so I hope it gets even more outrageous and becomes a little bit more talk. It's nice to feel the power of the story, and the story changes with the appearance of a dangerous looking monster character from the beginning. And the fact that the main character continues his humble training is also an anime adaptation of this world. I think it's surprisingly refreshing since in a rare category for a digester. In fact, the overall story feels like a boy's manga. The character design of the anime is also similar to that. I feel like if someone told me if it was a Jump series manga, there would be people who would believe it. The story hasn't really gotten into the main plot yet, so I think the evaluation will change from here on. It's a very thorough anime. Since it's a meeting, I hope that it will be a work that can thoroughly enjoyed.
The Unwanted Undead Adventurer. I give this a B rating, but it's a B better than an A. It's a better anime than I expected. The main character, an abusive character who conquers a dungeon, is eaten by a mysterious dragon. Before he knew it, he had turned into a monster in the form of a skeleton. It was the beginning. but the development after this was quite unremarkable as you progress through the dungeon step by step. It was an element of evolution unique to monsters, such as quickly evolving into a ghoul, etc. I don't think it's a bad feeling, but the idea of living as an adventurer while hiding the fact that you've turned into a monster from those around you is a setting that's very appealing to junior high school students. Overall, the story progresses smoothly, so it doesn't have much of an impact. It's weak, but it's a good anime that you can watch calmly. I think the ratings will be even higher depending on the development from the anime, so I'm really looking forward to it. Seventh Time Loop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life married to a worst enemy. I would rate this as an A. It could have rated an S, so I personally enjoyed this work. As the title suggests, the main character has experienced many different lives over and over again, but it's really nice that this part was carefully depicted in one episode. This also supports your height and makes you a romantic partner. It was easy to understand the relationship between the characters and the supporting characters. Also, the main character was a super royal and interesting woman, and I was sympathetic to the fact that she was a straight-talking person. As for the visuals, the story was a bit unsatisfying. It's a good anime that you can watch with a peace of mind because it spreads out carefully. I'd like to see how the main character makes use of a past life's experience. Personally, I'm planning to check it out as it's one of the most popular anime for young children this season.
Next up is Surgeon Alice. This one is also rated A. All the anime with female protagonists are also good. By the way, this is originally from a Korean manhwa. The original work is based on a Korean novel which was first made into a manga adaptation, then published in Beastlock's Bunko. In terms of the story, the main character who committed a crime in the previous life and was executed is a modern-day character. It started with him being reincarnated in another world in Japan and saving people as a doctor. It took one episode to depict the main character's progress as a doctor, which was really good. After that, he had an accident and once again, but going back to his previous life, Alice. But it's a natural progression to use medical power to solve problems that will occur in the country in the near future. I was satisfied with it, and the visuals had a shoujo manga-like atmosphere that matched the period of the work. I would say it's possible, but I don't have any problems with it. I'm looking forward to see how the main character plays an active role with his knowledge of the medical city. So I'm looking forward to seeing it as a medical fantasy. I'm sure to check it out as part of my expectations for this season. And finally, Pioneer Log of the Stored Hot Springs, alternate world springs, the reincarnation destination of an onsen fan who's around 40. This is a short anime with only a few episodes per episode. This rank is C rank. Well, each episode is too short, so I feel like I can't really rate it. Actually, I did say the reviews are good. From the first episode, the main character suddenly appears. It starts off in a confusing way, with a man taking a hot spring, then chilling with a mysterious heroine. Then going straight into the hot spring. I don't think there was any particular way to enjoy it other than a short anime that I wanted to enjoy quickly. I guess it ended up being a sequel. There's a storyline, but it's difficult to rate. But looking at the intermission time, it seems it's an anime that you can really easily.
So the overall evaluation is as follows. Personally, I feel like this is the main production of the season, so I'm enjoying all the works quite a bit, even the works with E rating. Most of the works were close to an A rating, and there were no works that I felt were boring. It looks like I'll be able to thoroughly enjoy the first season. How do you all feel about this season? I would be happy if you could let me know in the comments section. That's all for this video. I've uploaded a lot of videos related to light novels on my channel. I'd be happy if you could watch another video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.